Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session created for a client that wanted a morning ritual, a morning routine to help them make healthy choices and to start their day on the right foot. And essentially, the hypnosis session itself is designed to be a wake-up alarm session. So because the client I was working with had the MP3, I sent her a version with an alarm clock sound effect, and then she can put that in her phone as a track that then wakes her up. So although you're listening to the podcast version, she received the version that was designed to effectively be her an alarm clock that then naturally feeds into the hypnosis session that you're about to listen to. So there's many things in there that were designed to start the day in the right way. Things that link to hydration and nutrition, things that relate to activity and exercise, but also making the kind of choices that would lead to a ripple effect of getting smarter and healthier and fitter and leaner. This was obviously created for the individual client that I was working with. So some of the references, some of the suggestions might not be quite right for you. If you are curious to have your own customized wake up or perhaps even an evening ritual hypnosis session, there will be a link in the show notes that you can schedule a free consultation call to explore what that would be like. But you might find that this is a good session for you to wake up to, or perhaps just to get you in that state of mind where you want to make really healthy choices. So find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in, just imagine breathing in a wonderful feeling of resourcefulness. And as you exhale, become aware of any tension in your body. As you exhale, I want you to allow any feelings of tension to feel like it's leaving your body in your outward breath. Giving you a sense that just by breathing in and breathing out, you're starting to access and open more and more wonderful resources inside you. I want you to imagine that as you sleep, your brain is completely free to pursue any ideas and thoughts in your dreams. And as you make that transition from sleeping to being wakeful, doesn't it make sense to open up those locked doors to the resources that can help you live the life of your choosing? As you breathe in and breathe out, I want you to get a sense that you have an idea of the ideal rituals and standards you would like in your life. And what if all you had to do to build momentum is to start feeling more resourceful as you make that transition from sleep to wake. I want you to imagine a building with rooms, and inside those rooms were wonderful resources. Maybe the resource of intelligence. In a different room, the resource of energy. Maybe in a different room, there's the resource of strength. I want you to imagine that all of these rooms have wonderful resources, and that right now, they feel like they're in rooms with locked doors. I want you to imagine what kind of doors they could be, maybe wooden or metal. But just accept the idea that this house represents all of the incredible resources, emotions, abilities and capabilities that you have. And of course, not all of these doors are locked. Some of these doors are already open. And some of them you might think are locked, but it's just that you don't open that door so often that the door can feel stuck. And others might actually be locked simply because you're not choosing to use that key to open them. I want you to get a sense of what it would be like as you continue to breathe in and breathe out, to allow your unconscious mind to start unlocking doors. And sometimes it's useful to link choices and behavior in the real world to feel like it's helping your inner world. I want you to imagine that so many of these doors are starting to open just because you're listening to this audio right now. So allow feelings of confidence to really feel like you're accessing that. Gratitude is a wonderful resource that all it requires is for you to evaluate that certain things that you have that you value in your life, not everyone does. So maybe just by thinking of someone that you love, you can feel that gratitude. Not everyone wakes up in the morning. So the fact that you have the ability to listen to my voice right now means you're alive. And if you're alive, you can make choices. And if you can make choices, you can steer your life in the direction of your choosing. And just by being aware of that, tap into that wonderful feeling of gratitude. And gratitude itself starts activating powerful neurotransmitters like serotonin. So you get to feel good just by evaluating. There are people in the world that you love, that you're alive, and you have the ability to make choices. I want you to think to people throughout history that weren't able to make choices in their life. Isn't the definition of someone that exists and lives but can't make choices as to what to do? Aren't they a slave? And sometimes people can be a slave because they're owned and controlled, but sometimes people can be a slave to their habits. So if people can be a slave to their habits, if those habits aren't helping, doesn't it make sense that the opposite is also true? That every time you make a choice to take your life in a positive direction, you are expressing freedom. You are living with freedom. And freedom doesn't have to be the big things. What if freedom is you having the ability to choose the small things? What if choosing to grab a pair of headphones and experience a deeper sensation to activate those parts of your mind to live your life on your terms? What if that is an expression of freedom? And what if one of the first things you do when you open your eyes in the morning is to grab a sip of water? Isn't that freedom that you're making that choice? I want you to get a sense that discipline doesn't have to be difficult. Because if you evaluate that these things that you do take your life in a positive, powerful direction, then discipline can lead to freedom, but you can do it in a way that makes you feel free and in control of your life. If you were forced to drink water, you might not want to drink it. But if you get to drink water, knowing that every sip is giving your body the most important ingredient after oxygen that you need, knowing that your brain requires water, your body requires water. And I wonder what would happen if on that first, second, or even third sip of water of the morning, an idea popped into your head of having certain supplements designed to give your body and your brain the very nutrients necessary to enable you to create a chain reaction of positive rituals and habits. I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine a row of dominoes all lined up in a row. Maybe you did this as a child, and you just clicked that first domino, which then fell on the second domino, which then fell on the third domino, and it created a chain reaction. But the effort was just to tip over that first domino. And what if listening to hypnosis first thing in the morning, or having a sip of water, or having those supplements, or spending time with someone you love, or even taking a walk, were those early dominoes? Because sometimes it's possible to make the evaluation if the day doesn't start perfect, then somehow you've lost the day. But I want you to create that image of those dominoes in your mind and imagine 50 or 60 dominoes all lined up in a row. It's great if you can tip that first domino over. But even if you don't and you tip the second domino over, or even if you tip the third domino over, it still has this wonderful chain reaction. So I want your unconscious mind to accept the suggestion that you will have this desire to create a chain reaction in your life by doing just one thing that makes you feel proud. By doing one thing that takes your life in a positive, powerful direction. I want you to imagine waking up and having that first sip of water, feeling wonderful that you're hydrating your body. I want you to imagine taking those supplements and feeling like you're becoming smarter and more intelligent by giving your brain the essential and nutrients and minerals that it needs. Perhaps as you have breakfast in the morning, maybe that breakfast is a protein shake or something with protein in, I want you to feel that you're giving your body what it needs to become stronger and leaner. I want you to get a sense that whether you choose to walk, take your son to school, or whether you choose to walk in a park, or even if you choose to have a stretch or do some exercise just in your home, I want you to get a sense that when you're being physically active, this wonderful sensation of feeling like you're becoming healthier is activated. And every time you do something that is taking your life in a positive direction, I want you to feel this rush of pride, satisfaction, accomplishment. I want you to get a sense that every time you have a sip of water, you feel good. Every time you do something healthy, you feel good. But more importantly, you're feeling free. You're free to choose and create the life that you desire. I want you to think back to ancient times of slavery, and when the people weren't free, they made sure that those people weren't educated, because the slavers knew that if they were educated, they would have ideas to gain their freedom. So I want you to imagine perhaps taking a journey in a car and using that car as a university on wheels. Whether that's a podcast, an audiobook, a YouTube video, or something educational, I want you to get a sense that you can become more knowledgeable, more educated while you're driving. Some people call it multitasking, some people call it dovetailing. Over just one or two journeys, it makes no difference to the quality of your knowledge, but the more you do it, the more knowledgeable you become. There's a theory that if you were to spend just 11 minutes each day learning about something specific in a year, you would be one of the top 1% knowledgeable people in the world on that particular topic, just 11 minutes per day. And I'm wondering what kind of things you would want to be the most knowledgeable people in the world about. Because however long that journey is to work and from work, what if there was the ability to use that time to have it work for you, to improve your life, to build on those nutrients you had in the morning? You've activated a smarter brain, but what if a smarter brain has nothing to learn? That feels like a waste of those resources. And equally, what's the point of having that protein in the morning if you don't put that protein to work? So by having the supplements in the morning, you have a desire to educate yourself. And by having that protein in the morning, you have a desire to exercise and move your body. And don't be surprised if, when you do just a few things that you feel proud about in the morning, you're building a wonderful sense of momentum. That domino rally starts creating additional healthy habits requiring no effort whatsoever. Just like the snowball effect, it requires effort to get that initial snowball rolling down the mountain, but once it builds up sufficient speed, it will carry on in that same direction all by itself, just using gravity and force and momentum to keep rolling down that mountain. And what if, just by having some supplements in the morning, priming your brain to be open to new ideas and new habits, laying a healthy foundation for resilience and positive change, just by drinking water or a protein shake, just by taking a walk, just by taking the few seconds to play an audio program while you drive, builds momentum, creates a wonderful chain reaction. I want you to get a sense that small amounts of discipline give you a disproportionate amount of freedom. Because think of the opposite. If you couldn't choose what to eat or drink, you would be controlled. If you couldn't choose what to learn about, you would be controlled. If you couldn't choose the decisions that you do with your mind or your body, you would be controlled. So every time you make a choice, you are expressing your freedom. You are feeling free. What if these unuseful habits are like a prison, and every time you make a choice, you leave that prison? Why would you voluntarily go back to a life of less choice when you can live a life of wonderful choices? And I want you to imagine what would happen 6 or 12 months from now of living a way that you express your ability to make choices. Create a vivid picture in your mind's eye of you in the future, looking leaner, more intelligent, more knowledgeable, with more energy. Stronger physically, yes, but stronger mentally and emotionally also. And when you do these difficult things, sometimes things that require the ability to do them whether you feel like you want to do them or not, just getting them done, doesn't that give you the sense of resilience that means that you can deal with more challenges in your life? That when difficult things happen, you are not fazed by them. When you're used to navigating stormy waters, you no longer fear the storm. When you give yourself certain things to do every day that make your life better, one additional thing that needs to be done seems insignificant. I want you to see that future version of you, leaner, stronger, calmer, with a facial expression of looking proud and accomplished. I want you to see yourself as the mother you want to be, the woman you want to be, the human you want to be. discipline requires sometimes discomfort. It's doing those things that by definition are slightly outside of your comfort zone. But what if there was a simple choice to make? The slight pain of discomfort, or the bigger pain of regret? Because in 6 months' time, you will either be more of the person that you want to be, or the same person still wishing they were slightly different. And I want you to tap into, just temporarily, that feeling of regret you would have if 6 months went by and you could have been leaner but weren't. You could have more energy and vitality but don't. You could be stronger, but you're not. You could feel free, but you still feel trapped based on these habits that no longer serve you. And at the point where you decide that you would rather have the slight discomfort of discipline, if it means you get the wonderful feeling of pride, accomplishment, and freedom, just let me know by nodding your head. And at that point, imagine that building, unlocking all of those doors with all of the resources that you need. Because in motivation, you need the carrot and the stick. The life that you want, but also thinking of the life that you want to avoid. Sometimes you've been at your most motivated to avoid something you didn't want to happen. So I want you to imagine now what you would be like 6 months from now if you didn't do those simple habits that give you that sense of freedom. What if you never walked in the morning? What if you never had any of those supplements? What if you weren't drinking enough water? What if you weren't getting sufficient protein? What if you weren't educating your mind? And I want you to have these two different versions of you standing side by side. That version of you that is enslaved by just following maybe previous habits, and have that standing right next to the version of you that you would be if you were free just by having this small amount of discipline to follow habits that make you feel good anyway. And if it's clear to you that there is someone you want to be and there is someone you want to avoid, that you now have a roadmap, a strategy to create a chain reaction where small amounts of discipline create huge amounts of freedom, and that you don't have to tip over those dominoes with the first domino, even if the second, third, or fourth, or fifth domino is the one that is knocked over, it can still create a wonderful chain reaction to take your life in the very direction that you want. When your unconscious mind feels it has unlocked the doors to wonderful resources inside you, and that you have clarity of the life that you want, and a willingness to do what it takes to get it, just let me know by nodding your head. As you breathe in those resources and know what they are. Motivation, optimism, gratitude, discipline, curiosity, because curiosity will create an insatiable desire to learn new things. It's not that you should learn things while you're driving. It's that you could learn things while you're driving. You don't have to go for a walk every morning. You get to go for a walk if you choose to. These supplements and protein, there's no gun to your head saying you have to have them. It's just when you do, you're going to make yourself leaner, stronger, and smarter. You are unlocking all of the wonderful resources for you to feel free to live your life on your terms. And you're also opening the doorway to strategy and creativity. There are so many ways that you could have ideas that help you on this journey. What if your alarm clock in the morning didn't play an alarm sound, but played a hypnosis track to wake you up and get you ready to take on the day? What if there was a way of organizing your supplements to know what you've had and what you need to take? What if every time you see a water bottle, you've got an insatiable desire to just have one more sip? Whenever you notice good quality protein, you have this belief that it will help you become stronger. What if taking a walk was one of the best things you can do for your mental health? Fresh air and movement has been proven to be better for depressants than antidepressants. Just fresh air, movement, and noticing nature can make people feel good. And when people feel good, they make great choices. I want you to get a sense that you are activating new ideas, new ways of helping you make progress. What if there's playlists that you can save? So the moment you get into your car, you have one button to press. I want you to feel like you're returning to the present with a sense of resolve, a desire to wake up and take on the day in a motivated, enthusiastic way. As I count from 1 to 10, you will awaken feeling motivated with an insatiable desire to create that chain reaction. Starting to count, 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.